We have Algebra 1, test number 10 study guide. This is part number 2, picking up with number 10. 10 said we're solving for the variable. 3 over 5, x minus 6 is equal to 3. You're still undoing your order of operations backwards. Undo addition and subtraction. So undo minus 6 by adding it. 3 plus 6 is going to be 9. It's going to cancel this part out. If you have to draw a line, that might help you out. 3 over 5 is right next to x on the left. We still don't have x by itself. We're trying to get x to be isolated all by itself. We don't quite have that. It says 3 over 5 times x. Undo that by dividing by 3 over 5. Remember, to divide by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal, which is a fancy word that means to flip it. So multiply by 3 over 5, we'll cancel it out. I'm sorry, 5 over 3 will cancel it out. Multiply the right side by 5 over 3. This is going to be over 1. So you can multiply straight across. 9 times 5 is 45. 1 times 3 is 3. And divide 45 by 3 and get the number 15. Or you can say, well, this 3 goes into itself one time, into this 9 3 times, and you'll deal with smaller numbers. Straight across, 3 times 5 is 15. And 1 times 1 would be over 1. No reason to write that. X is equal to 15. Number 11 says 9 equals negative d plus 14. Undo the plus 14 by subtracting it. Again, if you have to draw a line, do that. Minus 14, if you do it to the right, do it to the left. Positive 9 minus 14, subtract the absolute values. 14 and 9 gives you 5. This is the larger absolute value, so it stays as negative 5. But you don't have equals d. You have equals negative d, because this part cancels out. That acts just like negative 1 right in front of d, or negative 1 times d. Undo that by dividing by negative 1. If you do it to the right, do it to the left. A negative divided by negative is a positive. 5 divided by 1 is going to be 5. This will cancel out and give us just d. d is equal to 5. Number 12, just like the one we did a minute ago. 2 is equal to 10 plus z over negative 3. You can't take away 10 plus z. You can't take away the plus 10 part. So take away the division of negative 3 by multiplying by negative 3. It'll cancel it out. If you do it there, do it here. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 equals 10 plus z. Undo this fact that it says positive 10. It says positive 10 by subtracting 10 on the right. If you do it from the right, do the same thing on the left. Same signs now. Negative 6 and negative 10. Add them up. 10 and 6 is going to be 16. Keep the common sign negative. Negative 16, that part cancels out. Z is equal to negative 16. Number 13, you only got one variable, but you got to do some combining first. Remember, anytime you got to combine, just look at one side. That way you don't confuse the other side. You can combine some like terms, 30 and negative 8. 30 minus 8 is going to be 22. So now you have 22 plus 5Q. You can't put those two together and get 27Q because they're not like terms. So we finish simplifying one side. Equals 67. Undo addition and subtraction of positive 22 by subtracting it. If you subtract it there, subtract it here. 7 minus 2 is 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. 5Q, since this cancels, equals 45. Undo the fact that it says 5 times something by dividing by it. Do it here. Q's value is going to be equaled to 9. 14, you got to simplify this side. You have to distribute. 5 times y is 5y. 5 times 6 is plus 30. Equals 50. Undo plus 30 by subtracting it. Do the same on the other side. 5y equals 20. Undo 5 times something by dividing by 5. Y is 4. 3p over 9 minus 23 equals negative 14. Again, you can always do this if you need to draw a line where you can separate the left from the right. Get rid of minus 23 first by adding it. If you can add it to that side, you have to add it to this side. Different signs. Subtract them. 23 minus 14 is going to be 9. 23 is a larger absolute value. It's positive. Keep it positive. So 9's on that side. This side's gone. We have 3p over 9. Okay. So now, undo. You're going to do it in 2 more steps right here. Or you could do it in 1 if you can make the transition. But for the rest of us, we'll undo the fact that this says divide by 9. Do that by multiplying by 9. If you do it there, do it here. This will cancel out and leave us with 3 times p equals 9 times 9 is 81. Then get rid of 3 times something by dividing by 3. Do it here. We know 3 goes into 8 2 times, and there's one left. There's 2 left over. 3 goes into 21 7 times. P is equal to 27. Number 16 says find the value of y, so we just simply solve them for y still. Combine all your like terms, negative 6y and positive 4y. Negative 6y and positive 4 is going to be negative 2y plus 14 is equal to 32. Get rid of your plus 14 by subtracting it. If you do it there, do it here. 32 minus 14, borrow from that one. 12 minus 4 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you have 18. This cancels out. Negative 2y equals 18. Get rid of negative 2 times something by dividing by negative 2. Do it here. A positive divided by a negative. Opposite signs is always going to be negative. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. Y equals negative 9. 17 says a camera manufacturer spends $1,900 each day for overhead expenses plus $6 per camera for labor and materials. The cameras sell for $10 each. So now think of this person that's manufacturing these. It says how many cameras must he sell to equal his cost. So his sales equal his cost. So sales is what he's going to get coming in. So he's got $10 per camera. So 10 times X. That's how much money he's going to make from his sales. His cost, on the other hand, is going to be $1,900. $1,900 plus $6 per camera. $6 per camera. So it says, when will the sales be equal to the cost? Okay, in order to solve for this one, move 6x over to the other side by subtracting 6x. You subtract it there, subtract it here, you're going to get 4x is equal to $1,900. And then get rid of 4 times something by dividing by 4. 4 goes into the number 19, we know 4 times. And you get, that's 16, so there's 30 left over. 4 goes into the number 30, we know 7 times. And then there's 2, over here. There's 2 left over. 4 goes into the number 25 times. So in order for this camera manufacturer to break even, or for his cost to even out with his sales, he has to sell 475 cameras per day. Now that's question number 1. Question number 2 asks, what if he sells 50 more cameras per day? What would the daily profit be? Okay. He's not going to, now you have to think about this, he's not going to pay $1,900 again. Okay. So he's only going to pay the $1,900 once. Now, if he makes $10 for each camera, 10 times X, but it still costs him $6 to make them, you have to subtract 6X from 10. So you know for each camera, he's going to make a profit of 4 times X. So if he sells 50 more cameras, you're going to multiply 4X, or 50 times 4X would be an easier way to look at it. 50 times, now I'm writing times 4X. 50 times the $4, let me plug it in exactly how it is, I'm sorry. 4X, and then we said 50 more cameras. So in place of X, you're going to plug in 50. So he's going to make $200 more if he sells 50 additional cameras. So if he sells 475 cameras, he makes no money, 0. Covers his expenses, but he makes no money. If he sells 50, he's going to make $200. So for every 50, he's going to make $200. Number 18 says a copy center offers its customers 2 different pricing plans for black and white copies of 8.5 by 11 inch pages. None of those numbers matter anything to the problem. It says customers can either pay $8 per page, or they can pay $7.50 for a discount card that lowers their cost to 5 cents per page. So no discount, they're going to spend 8 cents per page, so times the amount of pages. With the discount, they're going to spend $7.50 plus 5 cents per page. The question says write and solve an equation to find the number of copies in order for them to be the same. Well, if you make no copies and you buy the discount card, it's going to cost you $7.50. If you making like a very small amount of copies, it's cheaper for you to not buy the discount card. So this is one of those real life problems you can do. Move this one over. Move this 5 cents X over by subtracting 5 cents X. If you do it there, subtract 5 cents X here. So 8 cents X minus 5 cents X is going to be 3 cents times X is going to be equal to $7.50. So in order to solve that, get rid of that by dividing by 0.03. If you do it there, do it here. Divide by 0.03. So 75 divided by 3 we know is the number 25, because 3 times 25 is 75. So X is going to be 25, but we have to move our decimal 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. So we got to go the other way now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, not that many. Only 3 times. Only 3 times. No problems. Sorry. Okay, everybody, had a little bit of a mishap right there. 250 is what it's going to come out to do with your zeros. Okay. So X equals 250. So what that says is if you're going to make 250 copies, it doesn't matter if you buy the discount card or not. It's going to cost the same amount. If you make less than 250 copies, it's cheaper to not buy the discount card. If you're going to make more than 250 copies, it's going to be cheaper to buy the discount card. Okay, then we have a couple of easy problems to solve after that. C minus 4 equals negative 8. Undo minus 4 by adding 4 to both sides. Make sure you're adding 4 and don't look at the right side until you undo the left side like I tried to do. Add 4. Negative 8 plus 4, opposite sign, subtract them. 8 minus 4 and you get the number 4. 8 is the larger absolute value. Keep its sign, so it's negative 4. C equals negative 4. Plus negative is the same thing as G minus 5. So undo minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides. G, this will cancel out, is equal to negative 15 plus 5. Opposite signs again, 15 minus 5 is 10. Keep the negative value since 15 was larger. G is negative 10. Number 21 says negative 4 squared. Notice it doesn't say negative 4 in parentheses squared. If it did, then you would do negative 4 times negative 4 and you'd get a positive 16. It doesn't say that. You do 4 times 4. You only square what's being raised to the second power. That gives you 16, but you can't forget that the negative comes down in front of it. It's going to make it negative 16. Then for number 22, just combine the like terms. Negative 20z minus 10z is going to be negative 30z. Same sign, add them up. There's no instructions for number 23, so I just took it off. All it really asked you for was the property, and it would have been the inverse problem.